Muddy Waters. Muddy Waters grew up immersed in the Delta blues and was first recorded by archivist Alan Lomax in 1943. He moved to Chicago and began playing in clubs. A record deal followed. Hits like I'm Your Hoochie Coochie Man and Rolling Stone made him an iconic Chicago bluesman. Muddy Waters was born McKinley Morganfield, April 4, 1950, in Assaquina County, Mississippi, a rural town on the Mississippi River. He was given the moniker Muddy Waters because he played in the swampy puddles of the Mississippi River as a boy. He received his first guitar at age 17 and taught himself to play by listening to recordings of Mississippi blues legends such as Charlie Payton. Although Waters spent countless hours working as a sharecropper at a cotton plantation, he found time to entertain folks around town with his music. In 1941, he joined the SILAS Green Tent Show and began to travel. As he began to gain recognition, his ambition grew. Then after Alan Lomax and John Work, archivists and researchers for the Library of Congress Field Recording Project, caught wind of Waters' unique style, they sought him out to make a recording. The songs Can't Be Satisfied and Feel Like Going Home was among his first recorded. In 1943, Waters finally picked up and headed to Chicago, Illinois, where music was shaping a generation. The following year, his uncle gave him an electric guitar. It was with this guitar that he was able to develop the legendary style that transformed the rustic blues of the Mississippi with the urban vibe of the big city. Working at a paper mill by day, Waters was sweeping the blues scene by night. By 1946, he had grown so popular that he began making recordings for big record companies such as RCA, Columbia, and Aristocrat. But his recordings with Aristocrat received little recognition. It wasn't until 1950, when Aristocrat became Chess Records, that Waters' career really began to take off, with hits like I'm Your Hoochie Coochie Man and Got My Mojo Working. His sensual lyrics piqued interest in the young crowds of the city. Rolling Stone, one of his singles, became so popular that it went on to influence the name of the major music magazine as well as his most famous rock bands today. By 1951, Waters had established a full band with Otis Spann on piano, Little Walter on harmonica, Jimmy Rogers on second guitar, and Elgin Evans on drums. The band's recordings were increasingly popular in New Orleans, Chicago, and the Delta region of the United States, but it wasn't until 1958, when the group brought their electric blues sound to England, that Waters became an international star. After the English tour, Waters' fan base expanded and began to catch the attention of the rock and roll community. His performance at the 1960 Newport Jazz Festival was a particularly pivotal point in his career, as he caught the attention of a new fan base. Waters was able to adapt to the changing times, and his electric blues sound fit in well with the Love generation. Waters continued to rock musicians throughout the 60s and 70s and won his first Grammy Award in '71 for the album Call Me Muddy Waters. After his 30-year run with Chess Records, he went his separate way in 1975, suing the record company for royalties after his release with them Muddy Waters Woodstock album. Waters signed on with Blue Sky label after the split. He then captivated audiences with his appearance in the band's farewell performance known as The Last Waltz, an exceptionally star-studded affair that was released as a film by Martin Scorsese in 1978. By the end of his lifetime, Waters had garnered 6 Grammys as well as countless other honors. He died after suffering a heart attack in April 1983. Since his death, Waters' contribution to the musical world has continued to gain recognition. In 1987, Waters was posthumously inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. 5 years later, the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences awarded the musician a Lifetime Achievement Grammy Award. Additionally, some of his most recognizable names in music have named Waters as their single greatest influence, including Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page, Jeff Beck, and Johnny Winter.